Shameless.
United in the Europa League. Europa League. We tell them one time and we say Europa League.
What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Welcome back to Matchday Reloaded. Live as it can get here at the wonderful, the beautiful, the spectacular, the stupendous Panenka Studios. We are back. We are talking about Manchester United 2, Barcelona 1. Yes, top of La Liga, doesn't matter. Best in Spain, doesn't matter. Xavi, doesn't matter. Robert Lewandowski, doesn't matter. Frankie de Jong, Frankie went to Manchester, now he's going back home. He might come back in the summer. We'll have to wait and see. Nevertheless, we are through to the next round of the Europa League. It was only a playoff. It was only a playoff game. It doesn't matter though, because it's the big moments. It's the big European nights. It's a statement of intent. Since the World Cup ended, not many people have been able to get close to Manchester United. And I'm not going to go as far to say Manchester United are back. I'm not going to get Rio Ferdinand go sign the paper. He's already signed the thing, Erik ten Hag. But it just feels good, doesn't it, to be a force once again, to win big matches, and deservedly so. That was no fluke last night. Make no mistake about it. There were 4 halves of football. 2 in Barcelona, 2 in Manchester. And Manchester United deserved their victory. They deserved their spot in the next round of the Europa League, and we're already looking forward, because guess what? Sunday, we're in a final. We can win a trophy. It's all going on at Manchester United right now, and it's all because of one man, Erik ten Hag. Yes, he has got these players playing. He has galvanized this team. He has galvanized this squad. He's galvanized this club. He's galvanized us fans. We can believe once again. And you know what? Even if this season ends in disaster and it doesn't go the way that we wanted, there is hope. That's the key thing. Princess Leia at the end of Rogue One, when she turns around and it's a terrible CGI face, and she goes, hope. That's what we've got. We've got hope. Yes, absolutely, we've got hope. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well. Bottom right-hand corner, we've got a jam-packed show. We've got a jam-packed day this morning, to be fair, as well. We've got reactions from the likes of KG, Flex, Wout Weghorst. Yes, Flex spoke to Wout Weghorst after the game last night. We've also got reactions from Marcel, Kenny, DJ. We've also got something extra special coming up later today, which, if you stick around to the end of the video, I will finally be able to tell you about. So stay till the end, because there is something very, very, very exciting on the way today, as we get closer to the Carabao Cup final this weekend as well. Obviously, then later on, 11 o'clock, myself and Paolo are going to be back with you. We're going to have a busy morning. We're going to be doing the Europa League draw. We're going to be discussing all that. So I'm not going to go too much into the teams we could possibly get in the next round of the Europa League or anything like that, because that's all to come this morning as well. And then, of course, as mentioned, we've got build up to Wembley on Sunday. It's a big weekend. It's a big, big weekend. And already we've got Game Fanatic with a super chat. Says Timber and Frankie de Jong rejected us. Where are they now? Well, I'll tell you exactly where they are. They're in Amsterdam and Barcelona, if you want to be specific. But no, you're right. I mean, Bruno Fernandes absolutely smashed the ball into the gut of Frankie last night at Old Trafford. I did get a little bit worried there, because I thought we don't need a brawl. We don't need a brawl. Last time what happened when there was a brawl, we had Casemiro get sent off. I was a little bit concerned about that, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Let's see what some of you guys are saying as well before we get into the quotes from last night. We're going to get some quotes from Erik ten Hag and the players as well. Brian says, good morning, UV fam. Have a good one. And have a good one yourself, Brian. Absolutely. United supporter says, reckless KG, because there is Mr. KG, the comedian, in the chat, also saying, good morning, my family. Good morning to yourself, KG. Shout out to KG last night, doing the work outside Old Trafford, interviewing the fans, getting as reckless as... you know what? We shouldn't be surprised when it comes to KG anymore. You know, I certainly am not. I'm never surprised. And I was waiting, like you all, I was waiting with bated breath until KG's reactions and interviews with all of the fans last night were uploaded, and they are can't miss, absolutely. Mina's in the chat as well. Big up yourself, Mina, too. It's tremendous. It's absolutely tremendous. As Mina says, no Fred slander. He runs. Remember that? Remember that all the way back earlier on this season. You know, Mina's sitting there this morning like this. You know, one of my favourite poses, certainly. You all laughed at me. We're not laughing now, Mina. We're not laughing now. We were laughing during the first half yesterday because Fred was Fredding yesterday. Second half Fred is a real thing, okay? Fred turns into Fredinho in second half of football matches. It's tremendous, absolutely. Right, let's get into some quotes, because I do have to keep on track this morning, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on this morning. Right, Erik ten Hag, when asked after the game by BT Sport, he was asked, is this the biggest win as Manchester United boss? And he said, quote, yes, I think so. We had some really good wins, but with Barcelona, 8 points leader in La Liga, if you beat them, that's a big win. And he also pointed out, and I think it is a really good point, he said, you know, you look at Real Madrid when they played against Liverpool at Anfield this week, and you go, well, if they're second and if they're 8 points off Barcelona, then Barcelona must be something. And I don't, honestly, I think it's a disservice to Manchester United to say, oh no, Barcelona aren't all that, and Barcelona didn't play that well. Actually, is it a case of Manchester United were so good that Barca couldn't play well? Because they did have their moments at the Nou Camp. They absolutely had their moments. Towards the end of the game, we were hanging on. First half yesterday, we absolutely were hanging on. Had it not been for a fantastic block by Casemiro, it could be a completely different game. Now, you could argue, did they create a ton of chances? I mean, their only shot on target yesterday, in the first half in particular, was the penalty. I mean, David De Gea, apart from that, didn't have a ton of saves to make in the first half. Of course, he makes a save from Koundé in the second half. But the point being, actually, before we say, Barcelona, they're rubbish, they're overhyped, they're this, they're that, was it actually Manchester United played so well over the course of 2 games that they made a very good Barcelona side look average? And I think that's the case. I do. I think that is the case. I think Erik ten Hag made Barcelona look poor at times, and that's a credit to him. And he's right. It is his biggest victory, but I think that's because every game, every test that he passes, it becomes his biggest victory. I.e., you know, that game against Liverpool at Old Trafford, his first victory, the biggest victory. I mean, it was his only one at the time. But then you have Arsenal at home, top of the league, unbeaten, beat them, biggest victory. Then you have, you know, Manchester City at home, biggest victory, because you think of where we've come from and how good Manchester City are, and our recent sort of, you know, going away to City earlier on in the season, getting absolutely battered, biggest victory. And then now, this does feel bigger because, again, it's a European tournament. It's a team that is comfortably top of their league. It's a big name like Barcelona. They've got incredible players like Lewandowski. Obviously, they were missing players last night in Xavi and Pedri. And I'm sure those bitter Barcelona fans, by the way, they exist. Oh, my goodness me. I mean, I thought we'd kind of lost them in the summer in the sort of the Manchester United sphere of things, because obviously, we were talking a lot about Barca pulling those levers, you know, like they were at a Las Vegas casino, like they were those sort of old women on the penny machines, giving it that every 5 minutes. Need a signing, pull that lever. They were doing that all the time. But we were talking about them in the summer, and they would just be in the comments. You know nothing about Barcelona. You know nothing about finances. I thought they disappeared. Because we went our separate ways. Frankie didn't come to Manchester, no problem. And then in the last couple of weeks, oh my goodness me. They're back once again. We're missing these players, and you don't understand the sheer talent of Xavi and Pedri. Oh, you'll be sorry. He ran the show in the Camp Nou last week. No, he didn't. Go pull on your levers again. Don't do that sort of stuff, man. Oh, my goodness. Frankie would never come to Manchester. He never wants to come to Manchester. Your club's in debt. No, it's not. Our club's fine when it comes to finances. Oh, okay. Okay. We'll see come the summer when Laporte walks out there again like that. I mean, I know I'm one to talk, but he comes out like that. He always wears the real tight shirts. As a guy of size as well, Laporte, I would say just, you know, find a shirt that you don't have to tuck in. And when you do, there's give. There's a bit of give in the shirt because it's very difficult. You know, I don't like to wear a suit either for the same reasons. But, you know, he'll be out in the summer going, well, you know, with finances and all La Liga, and they'll blame the Premier League. They'll do that as well. You know, well, the money in the Premier League, get out of it, man. But they were back, you know, and I'm sure they'll be back telling the United that they don't care and they don't want to be in Europa League and all that kind of stuff. Whatever, no problem. Anyway, tangent over. Erik ten Hag was then asked about the substitutes because again this season, he has just changed the game. He has spun it. Because of the substitutions, because of his changes that he's made at halftime. I think United have the record this season for the most goals scored by substitutes, and that's because of the manager. That is on the manager. one, that's strength in depth, but also that's a manager that can read a game, can see what's going right, what's going wrong. He can turn to his bench and say, right, this person can make a difference. I can move this person here. I can move this piece over here. I can bring this person on. I've seen something there that I think they're vulnerable at, and I can bring that person on and exploit it. That's the manager. That's Erik ten Hag. And I think the difference between now and earlier on this season, how many times had we said that Ten Hag would turn around to his bench in the game and say, I just don't know if I can trust the person that I want to bring on to really make that difference, to make that impact. I'm sure he probably thought in some games earlier on this season that can be exploited. Or if we only had this kind of player, that might make a difference. And when you have people like Garnacho emerging and you bring in people, look, to be honest, even people like Weghorst, an extra body can be worthwhile, and then they can exploit things. When you have someone like Aaron Wan-Bissaka emerge as a credible first-team player once again, it gives you an option that actually, I'll tell you what, later on we can bring Diogo Dalot on, and Anthony can be on the right-hand side, and we've got a good Jadon Sancho, so we can move these pieces around. And there's no coincidence that this season, again, we have that record of scoring all of these goals via substitutes. That's because of the manager. That's because of Erik ten Hag. And again, I think he deserves a ton of credit. And when asked about those subs, he said, quote, we know that we can bring Anthony and Garnacho. You get speed, running in behind, dribbles and belief. And it is something that we've seen quite a lot from United recently, particularly, again, in the last couple of months under Erik ten Hag, is this kind of mindset and mentality that games aren't necessarily won in the first half. Games aren't necessarily won by fast starts. Of course, you want to have a complete performance and a complete game, but I mean, look at Manchester United's history. When are games won? They're won in the last 20, 10, 15 minutes of games. In those latter stages of games, when fatigue sets in, when it's all about concentration, when it's about mentality, when the crowd can start getting up, when it's about those sort of clinical and pressure point moments and having the ability to bring on something different, to shake it up, to change it up, to bring on an Anthony on the right, to bring on a Garnacho on the left, to move Bruno through the middle, to put Rashford up front and take Weghorst off, or bring on another fullback, or shift your centre-back out to fullback. That's when you win the game. And Erik ten Hag knows that, and we do have the players to do that. And it makes you wonder, like, actually, another transfer window, depending on how that's going to look with the situation in the summer and the takeover and funds and all that kind of stuff. If you've got a manager with quality players at his disposal, not to say that he doesn't already, because he does, but with those extra couple of players, what can't they do? You know, and that's really exciting. Again, it's just the manager. Oh my goodness, I love this manager. I mean, honestly. He continued saying, I think we have some great personalities in the team, like Rafa, Varane, and Licha Martinez, Bruno, and Casemiro, of course, which I don't know if you guys saw this video after the game. I think it's Casemiro, Lisandro Martinez, Varane, and I think Dalot's in there as well. And Bruno Fernandes, I think at that point, is doing media. But they're proper, you know, the crowd, Old Trafford, Stretford End are saying, you know, we've won the lot, all that kind of stuff. And the crowd are going crazy. And you just see the passion oozing out of all of these players. I mean, they've just run their socks off for 90 plus minutes, right? And they're probably exhausted. They've got to go again at the weekend. They're playing every 3 or 4 days at this point. And you just see Martinez giving it that. You see Casemiro giving it that. Rafael Varane runs to the crowd and gives it, you know, better than Klopp, by the way, because that's when you want to do it. Not after you've beaten, you know, Everton to move up to 9th in the table. That's when you really want to do it. And they're feeling it. And that's the difference as well this season. Yes, it's Erik ten Hag, but there's leadership in there. There's big characters. There's big players. We had them last season, a couple of them, but maybe not enough, and maybe not there consistently enough. Someone like Varane had his injury problems, so you couldn't even play him in every big game last season. Lisandro Martinez, he's a warrior. He is such a personality, such a leader, and we go through this team, we've said it so many times this season, you go through this team and you point out all of these different leaders that we have. Even in goal, David De Gea, experienced leader. Lisandro Martinez, leader. Rafael Varane, leader. Casemiro, leader. Even when people like Eriksen are playing, leader. When people like Marcus Rashford on the left-hand side, leader. Bruno Fernandes through the middle, leader. That's what you need. If you want to win things, it's not just about having the captain and that's who you look to, oh, they're the leader. No, it's about lots of people that any one of them could wear that armband and you'd have no problems. That's what we needed. How many times over the last however many years have we said, oh, this team lacks personality or it lacks leaders, or when it really matters, they crumble under pressure? And make no mistake, for the first 45 minutes, I was worried again. I thought, some of these players, man, under the pressure, Bruno, Fred, Weghorst, Wan-Bissaka even in the first half. I mean, I was looking at all of them going, no, not tonight. I mean, they started bright as well, but after that penalty, which was nonsense for me, I think it's so soft. It's one of those ones that it's like, by the letter of the law, it's a penalty. But at the same time, you know me with referees and VAR, you will see that a million times during the game and it will never be given a penalty. You know, where's the consistency? That's my problem. No problem if you're going to give it. Fine, if you're going to give that penalty, but when it happens later on in the game, give it. And there were numerous examples of it happening at both ends, by the way, in the game, of arms tying up like that. Didn't give it, you know. Didn't give it at all. So that's it. But it doesn't matter. It's not worth complaining about because we won, and that's the most important thing. Now, when asked about the Europa League draw, Ten Hag, when it comes to preferred opponents, Ten Hag said, "It doesn't matter to me. I focus on Newcastle United. If you are well prepared, we can do it. Certainly we can." As I mentioned, when it comes to that Europa League draw, we are going to be covering it live here on United View. Myself and Paolo will be watching as the teams are drawn out of the hat. Fingers crossed it goes better than last time. The last Europa League draw was Flex and myself, and oh my goodness me, that's when they had the Barcelona one. They're the first two teams out of the hat. It was a disgrace. It was a cheat. Ten Hag was asked about Anthony after the game. Obviously, he brought him on. Got the winner, of course. Comes back from an injury recently. He said, quote, "I know he can do that. He is brave. He is fearless. What he brought second half is what we needed. Running behind, dribbles, and of course his goal. He is brave. He will go for it. He brings so much to this team." And I was really, really pleased for him in the game. Because to be honest, even when he came on, Anthony, he still made mistakes, and he will continue to make mistakes. I mean, after the Fred equaliser, he is in behind maybe like a minute later. It might have even been shorter than that. He was in behind, and all he needed to do was square it, get the ball across goal, and it would have been a tap-in most likely for Rashford. And he took a shot, and then maybe 10, 15 minutes later, he's in a similar opportunity, and you're thinking this time, now take the shot, and he tried to square it, and it didn't work. So decision-making will need to be improved on. He is not the complete player. It's actually his birthday today, isn't it? He's 23, I think he is. And when you look at that, you go, oh, 23, man, he's still a young guy. A very young guy, but the important thing is that he's in a team that supports him, and he's got a manager that knows his exact qualities and believes in him. And he does put in a shift. It's not as if it's just all this flash and it doesn't contribute anything else. He does work hard. He did work back several points in that half, and he got the goal. And there is something there. There absolutely is a player in there, and I'm really glad for him. And again, two Brazilians absolutely got the job done for Manchester United. Eric Ten Hag also, this is what I like, describes Fred as like a mosquito, marking Frenkie de Jong. He said, quote, "His role was to stop Frenkie de Jong and be like a mosquito all over him." And certainly he was. I mean, we do need to talk about Fred, and as you know, with Matchday Reloaded, we'll do the clips and then we'll go into the players on a more individual basis. But just top line stuff on Fred, you never know what you're going to get with him. I mean, not even game to game. I'm talking minute to minute or half to half, because for the first half last night, he was not good. Fred was very much the Fred that we know. Passing was going astray. I'm not sure he completed a pass in 40 minutes. Giving the ball away, he just looked uncomfortable. It's almost like in those big matches, he almost gets too excited. He needs to sort of lose a bit of energy and then he starts to get a bit more composed, and then he starts to calm down a little bit, and then his passing does get a bit better, but he still maintains that engine to follow people round and do the role he's supposed to do. But make no mistake, again, for 45 minutes, he was not good. And then second half, like at the Nou Camp, he was just brilliant. Absolutely sensational. Again, he was all over Frenkie de Jong. His passing was fantastic. He started the second half as we went to go on with the goal. And he was just brilliant. I mean, what more needs to be said? I don't know. Again, I don't even know if he starts at the weekend. I really don't. I think he'd probably go with Fred and Casemiro again, Ten Hag. But I wouldn't even be shocked if he went with Sabitzer. I don't know. And to be honest, I don't care. Whatever Erik Ten Hag thinks is the right call, it is the right call. I mean, I've got blind trust in this guy at this point already. And Ten Hag also said, finally, a magnificent night. We are really happy, and we have to take that with us in the season. Absolutely, we do. It was a magnificent night. My only thing is, and I don't want to be, a Debbie Downer or anything like that whatsoever. It's just there's more games, and on to the next one. We've got a cup final at the weekend. We've got a game at Wembley. The challenge now is take this momentum into that game. How do we do that? Because Newcastle, they should be watching that game last night going, they should beat Barcelona. And to be honest, they should have beat them at the Camp Nou. And they absolutely sensational in that second half. Like, we've got a tough game at the weekend. And it's about United now not resting on their laurels and just keeping it going, keeping that momentum going, certainly, as well. Super chat here from Ahmad says... the Erik Ten Hag digs at Liverpool losing to Real Madrid 5-2 in every interview he gave last night was legendary. Look, we got Liverpool soon as well. There are so many big games coming up at the moment, and it is thick and fast, and you can see them scrolling at the bottom of the screen there, some of our upcoming fixtures, and it is relentless, and it is constant, but I believe in this group of players. I believe in this manager, that he is so clinical and calculated that I think he said in an interview with, I think it was ESPN in the Netherlands last night, going, no time to celebrate, maybe a small beer. Just a small one. I can imagine him just being like this, just one sip. Onto Wembley. That's it. Put it down. Smash the thing on the floor. Right, Wembley. What we do for Wembley? He is that focused. He's that laser focused on everything, certainly, as well. We've got over 1,100 people watching. So be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. How many likes are we on already? We're already at 160, 1,100 people watching. So if you haven't already, click that like button. As I mentioned, be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, because there is a lot going into this weekend. Today itself, as I said, we've got this show right now. Then at 10 o'clock, if you stay to the end, I can give you some news on something really, really exciting that's going to be dropping on the channel this morning. So stick to the end, and then I'll be able to tell you about it. Little teaser for the end of the show. At 11 o'clock, myself and Paolo are going to be live for the Europa League draw too. So we're going to be guiding you through that one. In addition, then, we've got all of the preview, all of the hype, all of the discussion as we head into the Carabao Cup final at Wembley on Sunday. And of course, we're going to have full coverage of that as well. So there's a lot going on. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. And Goat Smoker says, any news on Rashi's knock? No, I mean, what we saw late last night, was Marcus Rashford put up a story on his Instagram of him sort of hobbling down the touchline at Old Trafford with the sort of bandaged head emoji. So we haven't heard anything. I'm sure we'll probably find out more this morning. Erik Ten Hag, I'm sure, might have been asked about it after the game. I don't know. But if we get anything, of course, we'll let you know here on the channel. Right, let's get some reaction. First from Flex. He was pitch side at Old Trafford. Here's what he had to say. And I will just say, I know what all of you are going to say when you hear some of his words. Let's leave the Flex judge in the past, because if it's a real thing, I'm concerned about what he was saying. Either way, here's what Flex had to say.
Time, and we say Europa League.
Man United at the back. Man United at the back. We're in the title race. We're fighting on all four fronts. I don't care. I witnessed it. I needed to see certain things. I needed to see certain things from this team, right? I needed to hit myself in the mouth with the mic. I needed to see certain things from this team, to see the minerals when it counts. I'm seeing it. I'm on board. We're in a title race. We're doing our thing. What a comeback tonight. Second half, we absolutely dealt with Barcelona. This is the best team in Spain. This is the team running away with La Liga. This is the team that's only conceded, single-digit goals. And in the second half, we absolutely put it on them. Ten Hag, again, getting a reaction out of his team, getting the boys to knuckle down and getting a reaction, making changes. Anthony on, Sancho came off early as well. Weghorst off at half-time. But he just keeps getting a reaction from this team, and we just keep fighting. We never say die. We never give up. I just spoke to Bruno down there. and he spoke about the feeling in the camp. And I said to him, that interview you done with Rio was so perfect when you spoke about the rules in the house. There needs to be rules in the house, and every single one of them players are tapped in. Let me tell you, earlier on, Old Trafford was bouncing, absolutely bouncing before kickoff. Even when we went 1-0 down to a dubious penalty, it was soft, it happens. But how do we react? Everybody in the Stretford end, through to the East stand, through to the Sir Alex Ferguson stand, through to the Bobby Charlton stand right in front of me, they rose to their feet and their vocal cords were banging form. We've got this, don't panic. And yes, the first half we were struggling. We needed the half. Barcelona had control. Frenkie de Jong was stroking the ball about. You had Sergio Busquets stroking the ball about, and Barcelona were coming into their element. But you just always felt if we could get to half time with damage limitation and not concede another, Eric would make the tactical changes, and not only tactical, because that's one thing. Anthony coming on at half time, that's one thing. But then the players had to show it. They had to show the determination. They had to show they could up their levels. Fred. Past the everyone was talking about Sabitzer. Listen, Sabitza's been fantastic. I said no chance. Fred is starting this game. And you know what? Who was the fan? She had the Fred scarf on after Leicester the other day. Look at that. She's probably jumping around her room right now. Unbelievable goal from Fred. And Bruno again. Bruno. First half gives away a penalty. Heads down. He's not playing very well. He's been quite wasteful on the ball. Couldn't really get into the game. Second half, talisman. In the last 5 minutes, he covered absolutely every single blade of grass.
Big up Flex, he's excited. You could tell how excited he was. I'm not sure I've seen Flex that excited. I mean, he was literally doing this. He's bobbing and weaving like Ali. He was... He's hitting himself with the microphone. And to be fair, I think Flex is all of us after that game, right? I mean, it just felt big. And again, my only thing is with it, you do have to like remind yourself that it's just a Europa League playoff. It's not we're not at the end goal just yet, but it does feel like a big moment. And again, leave the Flex judging the past. I mean, I can't lie, when I saw him giving that Man United back, we're in a title race, I was thinking, Flex. I mean, everyone else can, but you. We know your powers. Don't you dare. No. Let's not do that. But yes, he spoke about Fred, and again, I do want to give more time to Fred because just unbelievable. And it's funny because I spoke to Flex before the game. We were chatting on the phone as he was on his way to Old Trafford, and we're setting things up and all that stuff. And we were saying, what should we say then when it comes to team news? What are we thinking? And there was this sort of discussion, wasn't there, that now that Sabitzer was back, because of course he was suspended for that first leg at the Camp Nou, is he going to go Ten Hag with Sabitzer and Casemiro? And I think logically, most people didn't see the sense in that. We've never seen that combination together before rather. And for a big game like Barcelona at Old Trafford, you do need to have a pairing that has experience with playing together. Fred and Casemiro have played numerous times at international level. They've played with each other for Manchester United. It wasn't the right time to do Sabitzer and Casemiro. And to be honest, come Sunday, I'm not sure, again, considering the scale and the size of that game, I'm not sure it's the right time then either. I would probably go with, once again, Fred and Casemiro, just because in those big games, in those pressure moments, you need familiarity. You need someone alongside you that you know what they're going to do. Of course, great players can play together and great players can forge relationships, but it does take time. It does take games. It does take minutes to build up that relationship, build up that chemistry, and just build up that instinctive knowledge of what your partner's going to do, where they're going to be, where they're going to go. And for instance, when you receive the ball, I need to know where my midfield partner's going to be without even thinking about it. And you did see that last night with Fred and Casemiro. And again, Fred just... And the thing is, if Fred plays at Wembley at the weekend, right, there is a high chance for 45 minutes he could be poor, terrible. But second half, he could be brilliant again, because that's what he does. That's what he does, absolutely. And Eric Ten Hag, as to what he will do for the weekend, I'm not sure, because again, I think the lineup he selected last night, I think most people expected that, honestly. I think most people predicted that. I don't think many people thought Shaw was going to remain at centre-back. I think most people assumed he would move to left-back and Bolasie would drop out, Martinez would come in. But apart from that, it would be the same. And to be honest, again, it didn't work. 45 minutes, it didn't work. Maybe for the first 5 or 10, it did work. But then again, Ten Hag, he makes the changes. He knows what to do. Absolutely knows what to do, and it was just absolutely brilliant. And you know what? When it comes to Fred, I've said before this season that I feel like this is his role in the team, not starting every game. Because I think if you're relying on Fred to start every single game, there's a problem. We've seen it. It's because he's inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get. I think for the role that he's in at the moment at United is perfect for him. You know, in that if you've got your full strength lineup, you turn to the bench, 20 minutes left, you bring on a Fred, brings on energy, brings on aggression, tenacity in midfield, or in a big game like Barcelona at the Camp Nou, or Barcelona at Old Trafford, or Manchester City at home, or whoever it may be, or Spurs. He was brilliant against Spurs at home this season. For those big games when you need someone to be disciplined and do a job. I mean, it used to happen all the time. Sir Alex Ferguson, Park Ji-sung, all the time, big game, play Park because he'll need to be he'll have to be a man. You know, he has to go man mark someone. Ander Herrera under Jose Mourinho against Eden Hazard, go sit on him whole game, follow him around, and that's what Fred did last night too. Frankie De Jong, we know he makes them tick. Just go follow him around. Again, be all over him, make it difficult. You need those kind of players in your squad that maybe what they don't have technically, they make up for in mentality and aggression and discipline. And he was absolutely fantastic. Now, again, is he going to be doing that at the weekend on who? I don't know. Bruno Guimaraes? Maybe. That might be his role for the weekend. Go sit on him. We know he's their key person that makes them tick. He hasn't been available the last couple of games because he's been suspended. Go sit on him. Go do the job. You need players like that. If you're going to win things and you're going to progress in big matches, knockout football, you need players like that. Need players that you can, as a manager, you can rely on. I know if I tell them what to do, they'll do it and follow it to a T. They can be, they can be one of your sort of message senders on the pitch. And absolutely brilliant. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. We've got nearly 1,300 people watching, less than 250 likes. I feel like after last night of all nights, we can get to 500 on a solo, maybe even 6. I don't know. Anything's possible. I mean, to be honest, if half of everyone that's watching now click the like button, we'd be on 650. And then who knows what we can achieve this morning? What does Erik ten Hag say? Good is not good enough. We're aiming high, very high this morning as well. Chris says, I thought Newcastle's Bruno has been suspended. He has for the last few games, but he will be back at the weekend. His suspension was 3 matches, but he will play at the weekend against United. Nick Pope is the one that will be suspended for Newcastle at the weekend. Ed says, show Owamiro the proper respect and get the likes that people look. I am no Owamiro, okay? No Owamiro, no way. I don't even have that kind of impact on United view like Casemiro has. Oh my goodness me. Now, speaking of impact, speaking of energy, speaking of, well, I guess recklessness, let's get some reaction from KG. KG, the comedian, Mr. the Comedian, that is, outside Old Trafford last night. I will give you a warning right now. If you are watching this or listening to this with headphones on, maybe just turn the volume down just slightly because KG was KGing at the start of this one, doing his best impression of The Rock.
What Ten Hag is cooking, blood. Listen, Barcelona, they got cooked in the second half. First half, we don't talk about it. It was a slow heat, slow oven. We couldn't really get into our cooking thing because the chef wasn't ready. You know what Ronaldo's talking about, the chef. We got rid of that chef, and the new chef pulled up, and that chef is Ten Hag. Ten Hag is chefing. This team is moving. Man United fans, go back, look at the receipts, check the dossier, fam. I told you, man. I came on, remember when with the draw? Flex is like, oh my God, we drew Barcelona. Everyone was stressed. I came onto the United. I came onto the it was like a Monday night show. Everyone was there, full view. I said, man, it's Barcelona. We can beat these. They're in this tournament. We can beat them. Everyone's like, what about Xavi? What about Pedri? What about Busquets? What about Lewandowski? What about all them, man? Shut your mouth, blood, because you didn't do nothing in here. Because do you know what this place is called? It's called the Fortress. Theatre of Dreams. Our theatre, bro. You can't come here and win points because look at that. TD United are the team for me with a nickname. Good look a bone. Listen, brother, we're wicked. We're wicked. Get home safe. Have a nice one, man. Listen, look at the fans are getting crazy. Everyone's enjoying themselves because we're moving. Man United are moving in a direction. Yes! Man United moving in a direction that we love. I can't believe I've still got my voice, but it's here, it's with me because it knows that we have to cheer on the team today. Ten Hag said on Thursday, you lot be here, we beat Barcelona together, and what does he do? Man of his word. Ten Hag is giving me the air, the spirit of Ferguson. There's something about him, there's a Fergie air about this man. You're talking about a guy that's coming to this club, just reimagine Man United. I call him Eric Ten Dumbledore. It spells all day long. Wingardium Leviosa, Oculus Reparo. We're talking about Avada Kedavra, fam. The team is moving in a way. Look at Sancho. Yes, Sancho today, not a good game. You've got players, you're saying, Weghorst, can he play in the 10? Not today, it didn't really work. But then he makes changes. Garnacho comes on. We're brilliant. We're absolutely brilliant. Garnacho.
Celebrate the victory.
I love the victory. Garnacho comes on, fantastic. You talk about Anthony comes on, absolutely brilliant. And Fred, the pastor Fred, 1 minute, we want to close down the church. You want to bring in Charities Commission. Next day he says, nope, gets the tambourine, he's beaten away.
I mean, there is nobody more powerful with a microphone than KG the comedian, okay? Nobody. Even when he started off, he was saying, he did the heavy smile thing with the Rock, and he just forgot every single player. He gassed himself out after like 2 seconds. You know, there's a guy, this is why I love KG, there's a guy with a loud jacket on, with a microphone, wearing a Pokeball on his chest, saying Harry Potter spells outside Old Trafford. You won't get that anywhere else, okay? No other channel is going to give you that kind of content, that kind of reaction outside Old Trafford. Oh my goodness, I love KG so much, and we all do for that. KG, and just imagine, that is just a taste. If we win, I'm telling you now, if we win this weekend, we win a trophy, oh my goodness. Cage, he's going to be on another level. I'm not sure what he will do. I think he might just spontaneously combust. I mean, he's reacting to people honking their horns. People are walking past. Absolutely fill up the chat with the KG emojis. That's all I will say with that, because that's incredible. Absolutely brilliant. If that's not a like, then I don't know what is. That's tremendous. Casemiro as well. Casemiro last night, I mentioned Fred, and it's important to talk about his partner pitch side as well, alongside him on the pitch rather, Casemiro, because in the first half, which again was not great, he was the one player I looked at, Casemiro, in that first half, said he is up for this. There is a special type of player that when it's a big match, they play better. They show up. It doesn't matter how big. And the thing is, it's because he's been in every big match almost possible at club level, certainly. When you've won 5 Champions League finals, you're not worried about playing Barcelona at Old Trafford. Not at all. You thrive under it. You go, this is what I came here for. Those kind of players we just haven't had. And again, in a first half that wasn't particularly great, he was the one where I went, man, he is up for this. I mean, he put Bruno through. In those first couple of minutes, wins the ball, puts Bruno through. Bruno should score, and that's Casemiro. That's big game Miro, and it just feels nuts to think at one point when he first came in, he was being kept out by Scott McTominay, and look, rightfully so at the time. McTominay was actually playing well, but I know definitely who I'd much rather have play last night in McTominay or Casemiro, and this guy's won it all for a reason. And he stops it from becoming 2-0 in the first half. That could have been completely different. David De Gea, shocking pass out from the back. And to be fair, you know, and I know people will focus on that's why De Gea, poor distribution. I think that's more a case of that can happen. We saw it with Alisson, who's got good distribution. That can happen. It's a poor pass, and Casemiro absolutely bails him out, because he not only does the tackle, but he also then blocks it, I think with like his stomach or whatever it was, or his hip. And if it's 2-0 going into half-time with the way we were playing, game over, no problem. I mean, the way especially that we were rattled by the penalty, we'd have been even worse when it came to going down 2-0. So it's that big block, and then second half, what's crazy is everyone else's performance levels came up second half. Casemiro's was already here. It didn't need to go up. It maybe did a little bit, but it didn't need to. And that's just how important he is. He is absolutely so vital. And obviously he's been suspended for some games in the Premier League, and we see the difference. And I was worried at one point that he might have been injured, because Lewandowski, by the way, I think was lucky to not get a red card, because that tackle on Casemiro, yes, he sort of goes over the ball initially and kind of touches the ball, but he absolutely bang on Casemiro's ankle, and his ankle kind of moves, and I thought, that looks very ligament-ish there. I was concerned for a second, but Casemiro gets up, just, limps for a bit, he's fine, no problem. Casemiro ain't coming off against Barcelona, and he ain't coming off for the few days before a cup final at Wembley. That ain't happening. So Casemiro, so important, so incredible, just absolutely brilliant. Let's get some more reaction, this time from a Manchester United player. Flex spoke to Wout Weghorst after the game at Old Trafford. Here's what Wout had to say.
Socks off for the half that you was on today. How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, good, great. It was a big one, of course, big match, and no, really happy to go through. That was the big goal. That was the main goal. So yeah, no, I think second half we did it great. And that was actually the way we wanted to play from the beginning. So that was a really good effort in the second one.
The fight and the determination that's in this team, half-time talk from Erik ten Hag. What did he say to the boys to get that reaction from us?
Yeah, good. Of course, we were not satisfied. He was not satisfied, and it was clear we had to do things better. The energy, also the belief, to win the fights, to win the duels, and just take out more of the plan that we spoke to, and I think it was definitely better in the second one.
How have you found it playing different positions in the number 10 position, or in the 9 pressing? You're doing everything. You're fighting for everything.
Yes, because for me, I was always been striker since I've been here. So now, I played a couple of ones at the midfield. I just give my all for the team. Give my all to win trophies, to have an impact. And that's all I can do, and that's all I want to do. And so far, of course, it's unbelievable journey. Still active now on for 4 trophies. So Sunday is the big game, and looking forward to another one.
You're getting in the ice bath. Looking forward to Wembley now. Another few days we have to play again. We keep going and going. How do you find the recovery, and how are you finding playing such a high volume of games from being here from such a short time?
Yeah, no, good, of course, like you said. It's, we have not many days left until Sunday, but everybody will be ready, and that's actually the way it is now. That's also the way you want to have it. You want to play all these games as quick as can, a lot of games. That's what I mean. When you're active on 4 trophies, then that's the result. So that's only a good thing, and of course it's not always easy. And you can see it. We prepare ourselves, and we will be ready again. And Sunday is a really big day, because I think it's more than 6 years, if I'm right. Yeah. So it's a long time ago, and that's the only thing that's counting now, and absolutely looking forward.
Big up Wout Weghorst. Yes, it wasn't his best game last night, but I think what was real key for him, as he says during the interview there, is he gives his all for the team. I don't think he expected for him to be playing as a 10 at points. Did it work for him last night? No, it didn't. It didn't work for him last night. I think that he was one of several in that first half that didn't play particularly well. Again, you could argue, was it playing to his strengths? No. But at the same time, he was like many, giving the ball away, looking sloppy. They were trying, because he played up front, and it was strange because they played him up front. It was actually, the way it started was Weghorst up front, Rashford on the left, Sancho as a 10, and Bruno on the right. And I think the reason it didn't work is because they were trying to play it over the top and in behind. And of course, Wout Weghorst is not going to be able to run in behind that Barcelona side. He doesn't have the legs. Vegs does not have the legs for that. And he doesn't have the pace, and at that kind of level, his deficiencies, I think, were shown. And again, maybe you could argue, sort of tactically, maybe that was the right call. Probably, on reflection, it wasn't the right call, but Ten Hag corrected it. But he does put in the effort, he does put in the work, and not to make this a whole Anthony Martial, rah, you're a disgrace, you're a cheat. But he's available, and that's what we haven't had this season, and I think you have to respect and admire the work rate and the dedication that goes in. It wasn't the game for him last night. It wasn't. But at the same time, I think for a £3 million emergency loan, also considering that Martial's back in individual training, group training when he's going to be coming back, I don't know, but I think he deserves credit and he deserves support because he's put in absolutely everything. I think he probably knows in his heart of hearts. Am I at the level? I'll try. I'll give my best. But at the same time, he definitely didn't expect to be playing, Europa League matches for Manchester United against Barcelona at the beginning of this season. He'd no chance. But that's where he is, and as he says, to be fighting on four fronts for a trophy is incredible. Yeah, absolutely. So I think he deserves credit, certainly there as well. Super chat that I did miss earlier on, said from Amanor, says David De Gea nearly gave me a heart attack on the 44th minute. I think you and a lot of people, certainly. Let's get some more reaction, because again, I want to speed things up here this morning. We're 10 likes away from 400, by the way, so we've got over 1,500 people watching. So if you haven't already, click that like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Remember, something big is coming at 10 a.m. Get to the end, and I'll tell you exactly what it is. Let's start off by saying it's an interview, not exclusive, but it's an interview and an exciting one. Let me know in the live chat. Who do you think this interview could be? Oh, a bit of a tease, bit of a build to it. Who could it be? Let's get some more reaction. This time from Marcel outside Old Trafford. Marcel and KG. What a combination.
He got dealt with, they're done. Well, God, my brother, how you doing? Come on, just a light spot there, come on! Listen, we moved. Listen, we dealt with them. Marcel, talk to me, bro. I don't know where your energy is. I can't really read your energy, but it's not as excited as mine.
No. Firstly, you're giving me positive vibes.
Yeah.
That's first things first.
Okay.
I just think the first 20, 30 minutes, it was poor from us. I genuinely do. I think,
Yep.
you know, it was a slow start. Barcelona dominated maybe the first 20 or 30 minutes. Their style of football was deliberately slow. They were on the floor half the time.
Yeah.
The refereeing was poor.
Oh, the refereeing was terrible.
You know, so I didn't like that first 30-minute display. Yes, Bruno should have buried a chance in the first 2 minutes. You know,
that one when he runs in on goal,
yeah,
pretty much a one-on-one.
It's
right?
a one-on-one. Bruno should really bury that. And then after that, it's little moments here and there from Casemiro, but ultimately it was poor from us.
What was the little moments from Casemiro, you mean?
So obviously in the first half, the ball gets played, he sprays the ball across to Bruno.
Yeah.
Then he has a little bit of a half shot, come miss in the first.
Yeah.
It's all in the first 5 minutes. Then obviously, you know, 40 minutes comes in to play, and we start to finally pick up and start to play, but we didn't create much. We didn't create anything in the first half.
First half was so terrible. I remember being in the restroom in the toilet, yeah, and it sounded like someone died, bro. No one was talking. All I heard was the dryer. Man, there was nothing going on, bro. It was dead in there. And I was thinking, Man United cannot play as bad as they played in that first half. But you saw what we looked like in the second.
It was fantastic. You know, Fred went from, you know, Fred the Red to Pasta Fred in a second.
Bro, yeah.
In an absolute second.
Sliding to Pasta in.
Yeah, he couldn't stay on the floor. He couldn't retain possession in the first half. But in the second half, I don't know what Ten Hag says to the players, but of late, that second half's always galvanized, always high energy. And he finds, the good thing about Fred is he picks up really good areas. He's always done that, you know, against Newcastle, you know, against Nottingham Forest. You know, he's always picking up good areas. He just can't execute when he gets into those good areres.
Yeah.
Today, good finish. I think it was on the right foot, and that gives us the energy.
I still haven't seen the goal. The last thing I saw from Fred was this. I didn't see anything. I just knew that everyone started jumping up and down. I just started jumping. I was like,
Can we talk about KG's impression of the hand dryer? KG, he is such a child. Just the way he went, I had to go toilet half time. It was silent. You could just hear the oh, brilliant. I'd love to see, I think to be fair, on KG's channel, there is a match day vlog. So I'm not sure how much reaction you got from him on there, but big up Marcel, big up KG as always. Look, Rafael Varane, let's talk about him, because we win that game 2-1 last night, but it could have been 2-2 had it not been for the Rolls Royce, the Ghost, the Wraith, the Phantom at centre-back, because who was it? Was it Lewandowski? Gets round De Gea, or takes the shot, and it's Varane sliding in, prevents the ball from going in, clears it off the line, and that centre-back partnership, that Rafael Varane, Lissandro Martinez, oh my goodness me, and no disrespect to them, but doesn't Maguire and Lindelof feel like a lifetime ago already? And again, a bit like with Fred earlier on that we were talking about, that's where I think Lindelof's best role at Manchester United. I don't think Harry Maguire's going to stick around that long. I think he'll be gone in the summer. But I've always said, Victor Lindelof as your third or fourth choice centre-back, i.e. someone's out or someone needs to have a rest or you can bring him on, perfect role for him. If you want to win titles, if you want to win trophies, with Lindelof as your starting centre-back or Maguire as your centre-back, not probably going to happen. But for moments like last night, big games, you need big personalities, big leaders. Big match players, and that's exactly what Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez are. Big match players. They've got charisma, they've got character, and just what more needs to be said? I mean, to the point where now, again, and this again is a credit to Ten Hag and the medical team at Manchester United as well. How well have they managed Rafael Varane this season? His only injury he picked up was the one at Chelsea, which was kind of out of his hands. That was just unlucky. I mean, he came off against, was it City as well at the Etihad, to be fair. But his big injury was the one against Chelsea, and he came off and he was in tears because he thought he was going to miss the World Cup. But the way they've managed him, at the weekend, he didn't play against Leicester. We all knew why. He didn't play against Leeds away. We all knew why, because Ten Hag was like, right, I need to make sure that he's going to be ready for Barcelona. And maybe he can't play every 3 or 4 days, but he's so important that we can move people around. That's why you've got a squad. That's why you've got the players. That's why you've got the strength in depth. And Varane's that important. He really is truly that important. And we saw that last night. Let's get some more reaction, this time from Kenny. I spoke to Kenny after the game. Here's what Uncle Kenny had to say.
So what happens at half-time is what always happens. You get him in the dressing room and says, right, you're coming up, you're going here, you're going to left, you're going to right. Sancho, you're there. Anthony, get on. The next thing, within 5 minutes, bang. Fred, all of a sudden, Bruno, instead of comes back into the middle, all of a sudden he's involved, he's doing passes. Fred's running past defenders. Next thing, one apiece. Different team, a different Fred, a different Bruno. Then De Gea, the De Gea we all love. Koundé goes up and you're thinking, oh, no, boom, flicks it over the bar. Superb
Easy,
save.
yeah.
Superb save. So, and then young Garnacho comes on, does what Garnacho does best. Just runs at him. No fear whatsoever. Straight at him. They have to bring him down. I was a little bit worried about the Lewandowski tackle on Casemiro. I thought,
yeah, I was surprised that was just a booking, because I thought if that's the other way round, I thought they'd have a look at it. That's the way it was
Premier
going.
League. But and his foot's got to be bruised in the morning because that was bad. But then again, the worst of Bruno. What does Frankie de Jong, welcome to Old Trafford, bang! And if that had hit him in the face, he'd have gone off. If that had hit him in the face, he'd have sent him off. Because he'd concussed the lad. Because why did he have to hit it so hard at him? And the next thing, everything blows up. And that's the point I was making the other week. It's all right saying, oh, you've got to show your spirit. You've not got to be reckless. You have not got to be reckless. He could have quite easily caused, because another player got booked as well from there. So then the things, especially as a captain, and I've been praising Bruno the last few weeks because he's not been getting involved. He's been doing things professionally. Next thing, what does he do? Bang, have that, Frankie. You're having that one in the stomach. You know what I mean?
But I mean, you're right, though, because that's how Casemiro got sent off the other week. It was an Anthony flashpoint that led to Casemiro getting sent off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I was surprised at the Wan-Bissaka substitution, because I thought Wan-Bissaka was outstanding. I thought he played really well. I thought all the back four did. Varane, Martinez, Casemiro in that pivotal role. Oh, they was excellent. To say they had 60% possession and only one attempt and a penalty in the first half. But for how bad we were, Fred and Bruno, Matas and Vegas, and Matas would not have been on the feet.
Big up Kenny, as always. I love Kenny. He's always like the Sirat. Could have killed him. Could have killed him, Bruno, with the ball kick. Could have killed him. Big up Kenny, as always. I really enjoyed chatting with Kenny after the game. It's a fun discussion about the game, certainly, as well. And as he mentioned, that back four for United is back fouring, certainly. And all of them, absolutely brilliant. And again, you're looking at people like Wan-Bissaka. What a turnaround. He played both legs against Barcelona. He was out in the cold prior to the World Cup. Comes back after it. Absolutely sensational as well. Now, again, a reminder. I did say that there is a big interview. Yes, a big interview is coming at 10 a.m. I can now reveal officially, because it is up on the channel, that KG the comedian, yes, KG the comedian, Mr. the comedian, spoke to the match winner, Anthony. He spoke to Anthony at Carrington a couple of weeks ago. As we get into the Carabao Cup, there's going to be a discussion about the Carabao Cup final. There's discussions about certain celebrations, skills, all that kind of stuff. That is going to be going live as a premiere at 10 a.m. In 6 minutes time, it's going to be going live. So make sure you check that out. Let's get a little bit more reaction, this time from DJ. DJ spoke to Paolo after the game at UVHQ.
I'm ecstatic. I'm happy. Got a bit nervy as always with these big games, but I think today was a day where, look, I said this week will solidify Ten Hag's position within the fan base and with the wider audience of football. Not to say that he isn't certified to us, but I think this was going to be always a very important week for Manchester United. We're back in knockout football. We have just knocked out Barcelona, who are a big team, one of the biggest teams in the competition. We've knocked them out. Wouldn't say with ease, but it was with ease at some points. You know what I mean? It was ease at some points.
Not as hard as we thought it would be, right?
Yeah. We thought it was going to be literally extremely hard, but I think this United team has improved. And I think we can safely say that we're in a new direction with Ten Hag at the moment, so I'm happy.
First half, it was looking sticky. We were saying, what is going on here? Kept losing possession of the ball, sloppy passing. What do you think changed? What do you think changed in that second half? Because, again, just like in previous games this season, it looked like a completely different team. So what do you think changed in that second half?
Yeah, I think the first half, we was unlucky to obviously concede the penalty. I didn't think it was a penalty personally, really soft. And I think that kind of derailed us a bit. The players did seem to kind of shell up a little bit. And we were struggling again just before half-time, and I was saying, look, we need to get into half-time because Barcelona started pouring forward. And then we go into the second half, and it's almost kind of like, I would say to teams, if you're trying to beat Manchester United, you need to actually be clear away in the first half with your goals, because once Ten Hag can get a grip of them in the changing room, it's like they literally go on a madness. They'll come out, and as you can see, we saw change straight away, and we was able to make the changes. I think the changes that Ten Hag made was spot on as always. Most of his changes this season are spot on. He knows when to put certain players on, the Garnachos of this world, and Anthony coming back into the team. All I can say is I'm so happy that we have this manager. We are such on an upward trend at the moment. I honestly don't fear any team.
Big up DJ, big up Paolo. Yes, what a show it has been. Absolutely incredible. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. There's still over 1,500 people watching, so if you haven't already, click that like button. We're just over 30 likes away from 500. A reminder, so much going on today at United View and this weekend at United View. There is the Europa League draw that myself and Paolo will be doing, 11 a.m. GMT. We will be live guiding you through that draw. A reminder, in just 3 minutes time here on the channel live, there will be, premiering. It's not actually live. It was recorded before, and it's totally unexclusive interview that KG the comedian has with Anthony. That's going to be going, as I mentioned, premiering 10 a.m. And the best thing is, you don't even have to go anywhere. Once this stream ends, once I go off the air, you'll be directed straight to the stream. You'll be directed straight to the premiere. So you don't even have to touch anything. You can just sit here, you can just wait, and it will go, and you can see KG chat with Anthony, yes, ahead of the Carabao Cup final this weekend. So plenty going on right now here at United View. Then, of course, we've got the Carabao Cup final itself this weekend. It's going to be match days, there's match views, rather, there's going to be fan views, there's going to be previews, there's going to be everything. Mina was on Sky Sports this morning as well. Team UV is everywhere. We're everywhere and we're killing it. And it's going to be, just a big weekend. Manchester United aren't just the ones rising. We're rising as well. And it's all because of you, certainly. So give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a big up. You deserve it, absolutely. So 10 likes away from 500. I'm out of here. Have a great Friday and stay tuned for that KG and Anthony premiere interview. I'm out of here. Peace.